You're tuned in to Live Farm Girl Fit.
It's fitness as a lifestyle.
Keep it simple, get it done.
I know food is fuel, but I'm making it home taste better.
Hard work yields results. The best part of Farmgirlfit is the people.
Welcome to Live Farm Girl Fit, episode 8. We're your hosts, Janessa.
And I'm Jenny. And before we start in on this episode, we actually have a little announcement to make. In episode 6, we talked about vacation and staying active on vacation. And we asked you to use our hashtag LiveFarmGirlFit and show us how you're staying active. We have a winner. Congratulations to Amanda Haynes. This is your Instagram name here. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but yeah, so you win a little travel package that we'll be getting in touch with you about, and yeah, some fun stuff in there.
Yeah, congratulations to you. So now on to the current episode where we're talking about preparing for the big day. So right now we're kind of at the start of wedding season, and so we have some tips for all of you brides-to-be, maybe mothers of the brides or mothers of the grooms, and really anybody who might be preparing for a big event.
Right, so a lot of times we'll get gals that'll come in here and say, okay, I have a wedding coming up, and we're like, the next question is, okay, when is it? They're like, oh, 3 weeks from now. No, but sometimes that happens where people sort of have this event and they procrastinate, and then all of a sudden it's time to fit into a specific dress or whatever, and then they'll come in and get a gym membership. But it's definitely the season right now to start thinking about that ahead of time. As soon as you get engaged, I think you need to start thinking about the plan.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that we kind of want to dispel is the myth that you just want to be skinny on your wedding day. Like, it doesn't matter what you do necessarily for fitness leading up to it. It doesn't matter how you're feeling as long as you're skinny and you fit into that dress. And we definitely want to dispel that myth.
We've had this dream of our wedding since we were little. Sometimes I actually didn't really have that, but I know that once you start getting to a certain age, it's just something that I think is natural in a lot of women, that you think about, oh, what's my big day going to be like? Or this is exactly how I want it. Some people I know, like I've had high school friends that just like literally like mapped out their entire wedding when they were like 16.
Planned it out.
So it's just one of those big events where people, women especially, really get hypersensitive and very involved in everything. Just kind of ups, how would you say it? I don't know.
Just there's a whole lot more added pressure and stress.
I guess. When it comes down to it, it's just stress. Like too much stress. So we're gonna have some tips and tricks on how to actually enjoy the process and to keep your sanity and not be a bridezilla.
Yeah. Want to avoid that whole bridezilla thing. So our first kind of tip is just to take it for what it is. I mean, it's a celebration of love, of you and your spouse to be, and it's a celebration. So you want to enjoy that process. You don't want to be stressed to the max and teary, like crying because you're so just worried about it and passing out, or all those things. There's a lot of that extra pressure, even if you're trying to keep it really simple and it's a simple event. And even if you feel fairly relaxed about it, there's still other people who have expectations of what they think the day should be or what they're looking for. And so it's just important to kind of take that step back and take it for what it is.
Yeah, and I heard a good quote yesterday. I was actually watching a Wim Hof video. We've mentioned him before. He does a lot of the breathing techniques. He's known as the Iceman. But he had a quote, and I'm going to quote him. He says, if you radiate good energy because you are happy, healthy, and strong, that's love. So why wouldn't you want to embrace this journey and kind of share in that love and the celebration of love and be as strong and healthy and happy as possible? So yes, there's going to be bad days and good days, and things might not go your way as far as when planning things go. Right. But having this better perspective on the whole journey and the process, I think will be healthier all around.
Yeah, and just kind of keeping that like end goal and what is the whole purpose, keeping that in perspective will really help whenever those little hiccups and those bumps, they will come up, they'll happen, but to be able to kind of take them with grace and with just take it in stride and move on from that. So that's our first one, is to kind of stay focused on what the big picture is. And one of our tips later will kind of help with doing that too.
Right.
Tip number 4. So
the biggest workout surprise that we are, I gave it away. The biggest tip that we have is to work out. So we're not saying, if you actually listen to our previous podcasts earlier than this one, then you'll know that it's, like you said, it's not all about just fitting in that dress or being skinny or whatever. Yes, you want to look as good as possible, but we honestly feel like working out has so many other benefits.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, really, so much about how you feel about how you look is mental. Like, it's a certain amount of confidence and feeling comfortable in your body, and whether you might come in with it with an expectation that you want to be a size 4 or whatever, and maybe your body isn't meant to do that, or maybe, you could be a size 4 if you start 2 years in advance, but the time you've given yourself, a size 6 or size 8 or whatever it is what you're going to be for that day. But the way you feel in that moment is so much more confident and just happy with who you are if you aren't putting all that extra stress because you didn't get to the size 4. So the big thing about working out truly is that it's, you're looking for those endorphins. And I always think about Legally Blonde when in that movie, and she's talking about, they're trying to figure out like who the murderer is, and she's like, well, he works out, workouts give you endorphins.
Oh yeah.
What is it? It's like, happy people just don't kill people. They just don't. But it's true, you do get those kind of like pleasurable high from working out, and that's kind of what we want you to focus on.
Yeah, and I think that depending on what you are doing to work out, so we really want you to do something that's enjoyable. We always say that, like, you shouldn't dread your workouts, and you should really be excited to get there. If it's climbing, swimming, biking, weightlifting, whatever it is, like, find that thing. But also I think that workouts make you more resilient. And I think when you are a bride and you're the host and you're the person that everybody's looking at, it's not very often that you're actually the host and sort of like the highlighted feature of the event or whatever. So it's kind of it's important.
Double duty there.
Yeah, it's important to be able to know that everything's not going to go your way and just to be resilient. And I think that working out and being tough kind of helps you to let things roll off your back or to at least go on to the next thing.
And talking about starting to build confidence, there's a certain amount of confidence that you get from really setting your mind to something and accomplishing it. And that's sort of the approach that we take with our workouts. And that's why they are hard. They're going to challenge you, but you should enjoy it at the same time. So it should be a positive thing that you're coming away with. And the other thing is to really be smart about it. So whether you're starting this workout process a year in advance, 6 months in advance,
3 weeks in advance.
3 weeks in advance. Hopefully it's not that, but what we want you to think about is that you're building a routine. This is the start of something that's lifelong, or that's at least long term. It's not just temporary. So if you're starting it, 2 months in advance, you've only got 2 months to do it, you're not going to be working out 5, 6, 7 days a week. That's going to be a detriment to you.
Yeah, and maybe it's not a traditional, gym workout or whatever, but just being really active and really making the time. It's maybe not an official workout or whatever if you didn't go anywhere, but you're going outside for your lunch breaks and things like that. So it depends on where you're starting.
Absolutely.
So make sure that you're smart and you're not hurting yourself or sore, or then you can't accomplish anything else. But I also wanted to, along the lines of this, is noticing that just because you and your significant other are in this sort of routine right now, and you love each other obviously, and you want to get married, doesn't mean that's how it's going to be when you're actually married. So I think that, so like if you go to maybe he works out and you don't, or you go to different gyms or whatever, but taking that sort of second to realize that this is an opportunity for either both of you to like build these healthy workout routines together or separately, but knowing that just because it's a certain way now doesn't mean that after the wedding it's going to be it has to be that same way after you guys are married. So take it as a way to sort of create these healthy habits together, or if you don't like working out with him or her, then do something else on your own.
And it really is a great stress reliever. I mean, there's so much in this wedding planning process that is just stressful, and it's a good way to let off some steam, as long as you take it for that and it doesn't create added stress. So that's kind of another reason that, you know, if it's 3 days a week or you're just fitting it in on your lunch break and going for a walk, but not necessarily feeling the pressure to do something every single day that you're going to beat yourself up about if you don't get it to do.
Right. So another thing that actually obviously goes along with it is eating well. So here you are, you started your new workout routine, or you're, exerting more energy than normal. Then you have to fuel your body. So really nutrient dense meals, really taking this opportunity to also maybe enjoy cooking together, preparing meals together, but really taking the time to notice that you actually have to fuel your body and make sure that you're, eating really well.
Yeah, and to avoid that starvation mode, I think a lot of, especially for women, you think I need to lose weight, I need to be smaller, so I'm not going to eat, or I'm going to eat less, or I'm going to cut my calories. And really, your body needs a certain amount of calories just to function properly, and it's more than you might think. But really, not just to function, but to thrive and to be happy and to enjoy the process. So much of our hormonal balance and our mental state is tied to the food we eat, or if we don't eat. And if you're starving yourself, I mean, hangry is a real thing.
It is a real thing.
I mean, I'm sure
and
you've
you're
all felt
forgetful
it.
and staying hydrated. I mean, that's just going to make you feel so much better, especially if you are, doing more of these workouts or things that you don't normally do.
Yeah, and just helping to stay focused and keep everything in perspective. There is a lot of planning that's involved, so being able to have a clear mental state about what you need to get done and kind of work through that. So, I mean, our big thing there is don't revert to some weird shake or some weird cleanse or anything that you wouldn't normally do. If you're approaching this as a lifestyle, as a long-term thing, then take those same steps. Don't just think, well, in 3 weeks, I'm going to drink all these shakes and not drink any whatever.
Do what's sustainable for you to be doing in your marriage or after the wedding. Just like you would to be, healthy, instead of it being like, I need to shrink my body. That's not really the end goal here. It's to look and feel as good as possible.
Right. And so the next tip, this is the one that kind of ties back to the first one about taking it for what it is. And the best way to do that really is to stay organized. I mean, you have a lot to do. There's a lot of planning, and working out will help and eating well will help, but only if you're organized about it.
Sorry.
No,
go ahead.
So just making sure that it's not ruling your every waking minute.
Right. I think that's important, because if you are you wake up in the morning, it's the first thing you think of. You're at work. You're not even thinking about work. You're thinking about that. And I think with, today, like everything's on your fingertips, your phone, it's like you're getting emails and texts. Even if you had the most simplest wedding in mind, or for instance, mine was really easy. It was kind of already preset. They're like, what color do you like? And it was very like, this is how we do weddings here, which that was awesome for me. Yeah. But even if it's that simple, you still have so many things to just complete that it's really time consuming. Yeah. So having a really good plan as far as like, okay, if you do have a break at work or whatever, you're like, okay, I'm going to make a few phone calls during this time, and then being able to refocus onto something else. And honestly, it's not fair to everybody around you, like your kids and family, or, well, you maybe not have kids. It's not fair to people around you like that you're interacting with regularly if you're constantly unavailable or you're just always checked out thinking about your wedding. So I think it's really important to be able to maintain the lifestyle that you're having now and to your significant other, not taking away from that and being just organized, having time on and time off. Yeah,
that's what I was going to say, especially with your significant other, because in the planning process, there's a certain amount of things that you want their input on and they want to give their input on. But I mean, really, the bulk of the planning, it's a girl's thing.
It is.
Right? I mean,
it just is.
There's just with most event type stuff, most men or most significant other just don't really care that much about all of those little details. They want you to be happy.
It's like your significant other usually just says whatever especially for a wedding in this instance.
Yeah. So try to take the time, but schedule when you're going to do planning with them, when you can do planning outside of it, and then when you can do other things and live the rest of your life, because you don't want it to be all consuming.
Yeah. And honestly, so you're super organized, but you also have to be prepared for something to go wrong. Yeah. Like when I was interacting with the wedding planner for my wedding, she was like, well, just so you know, there's always something that goes wrong. There's going to be one thing in every wedding.
Like, well, not with you, though.
Yeah. I'm like, no. But in my wedding, I actually forgot we had a beach wedding in Cannon Beach, Oregon, and the flower girls did not have anything to put the flower
flowers
petals in. And I was like, oh crap. And I was able, to just ask around, but they had these cute little beach buckets, and then I just threw them in, and that was like kind of my one thing. But that wasn't gonna like put me over the edge. I think I was fine with that. But did you have?
I was just trying to think about that. I remember that there was something, but I honestly can't remember what it is. Which, like, I mean, truly goes to show you, like, it's
in the
not
scheme
that
of
big
things,
of a deal.
Yeah. But in that mindset, if you're really have that unhealthy state of mind, I think any little thing like that will just send you over the edge, and then something big could happen where you really don't enjoy your day.
Right. Yeah.
So think of it that way. So think about being prepared and organized, just so it doesn't set you off into something bigger than it is.
Yeah. And kind of on the subject of, of having all of these things to plan, it's not only the day, like the wedding day, but it's all of these extra events that get tied into it also. And one of those big ones for brides especially is the bachelorette party. So, this is our last tip for you. Our fifth tip is to try to have more of an active bachelorette party or a bachelorette weekend. Seems to be kind of the way, it seems to be more of a weekend than like just a night or whatever. And so we have a couple tips for that.
Yeah, so we've kind of been noticing this trending a little bit on Instagram and things. Like, it's not more so just about, going to a bar and everybody drinking too much and then whatever. It really is, that's maybe part of it. But then the next day there's like a hiking event, or there's some sort of other sweaty exercise that everybody's doing together. And I've noticed people like using funny hashtags and things associated with bachelorette parties and being a little hungover or whatever. But honestly, it's a good team building, because there's a lot of, if you have a bridal party of 5 or so women, chances are they don't all know each other, but they're gonna have to be preparing things together, events or things for you or the bride. And so they're going to want to be able to get to know each other better. And I think getting to know each other better, a great way is sweating together and working out together. So,
and I mean, drinking is typically like, it happens at some point in the bachelorette party, or you're doing it wrong.
For sure.
Not really. I mean, if that's not your choice, it's not your choice. But typically, you're going to have at least one kind of wild night or night going out. And it's a great way the next morning to kind of to sweat it out. I mean, that's a real thing. Just get those, get your blood pumping, get reset a little bit. Or it might be a good way to relax. Like I've seen where like wherever the destination is, they'll have a yoga instructor come to the house where they're all staying and do yoga on the lawn. And it's just kind of a nice little relaxing thing, or go for a hike. We did on my sister's bachelorette. We were up in Vancouver, Canada, and we had planned this hike, and then the weather like totally was not agreeing with that. So, but instead we sought out a spin class that was really fun. It was a fun way to sweat and a fun way to seek out a new like studio and what's kind of going on, and then felt like we earned brunch afterwards. So
I was a bridesmaid for a wedding where the day after we had brunch planned at her mom's house, and then a masseuse was coming to give us massages, and she was kind of pissed at everybody because we had drank the night before, and she was like, she cut our massages down from like 30 minutes to like 15 minutes, I think, because just the smell of booze was too much for her, and she was like, this isn't even doing anything for you guys, like
just getting re-drunk.
But I mean, it was a great idea, so plan for a masseuse to come, but be prepared for the aftermath.
Well, and really, if you have started to adopt this new style where you're working out more and you're eating well, you don't want to totally go binge on the weekend and feel like you totally set yourself back, which is kind of what we got to in our last episode about the, or not our last episode, but episode 6 on the vacation workouts and traveling and trying to keep up on that. So revisit that episode. There's a couple good tips in there for whether it's bachelorette party or your honeymoon afterwards, but always drinking water, walking where you're going.
Pack your shoes, pack a workout outfit.
Yeah, maybe it's a good excuse for a new workout outfit too, if it's on your honeymoon or on your bachelorette.
An excuse for that.
So
those are all good tips for you to become not a bridezilla and to enjoy the process.
And that will wrap up this episode. So those 5 tips. If you have questions or topics, other things you'd like to hear us discuss, then please feel free to comment either on Facebook or on YouTube. Make sure that you're following us on Facebook and on Instagram at Farmgirlfit. And please use our hashtag, tag us with Live Farmgirlfit.
Yes, and did you say reviews?
Oh, I did not see reviews.
Please make sure to review us. We love the reviews. We love looking at those, and definitely give us a review. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our YouTube and iTunes channel. We're going to do a big prize package for the first 500 in the YouTube and the first 500 in iTunes. We're going to do a little drawing for a nice big Farmgirlfit style prize.
And I'm sure Miss Amanda, remember, we'll be getting in touch with you on your vacation prize pack. I'm sure she can attest to the quality of our prize packs.
Yes.
All right.
So thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.